What's So I'm getting ready to do my nails, redo my nails. And I just felt the spirit to come and talk. Like I always do, you know? If you know me, I'm always talking. It is Chy Latte, Lady Latte, whatever you know me as. And I've gotten better at like sitting on things before I rant, because sometimes you get upset about it and then the time passes, which I'm Sagittarius, and even if you don't give a fuck about astrology, I don't give a fuck if you give a fuck. But you know, sometimes it just passes. Sometimes it's a moment and it passes. So take a shot for every time I say passes. Over the last year, I've had some situations where 3 people from my past popped up. And I say over the last year because the first person popped up last year, and another one has been popping up off and on for the last year, and then one person popped up last week. And I'm laughing because each one of those individuals meant a lot to me. Like, you know how even if it's a situation that's not ideal, you still have someone that you care dearly for. And if they, you know, if everything worked out, you would probably welcome them back in your life with no problems. That was never the case. So, and they approached me immediately with selfishness. And I've done a lot of growing. I've mentioned this before, where I had narcissistic tendencies. So I understand where their energy is coming from, because I had the same energy, like no bullshit. So I know it's selfishness, because they came at me, they messaged me. Always, they're usually the first one to message, if not always. And each situation, they never really, they did the whole thing of, oh, how are you? You know, how are you doing? I was thinking about you, yada, yada, yada. And I do have a platform. It's not big, but it's noticeable, and everyone that I know what I do. So I know they've been watching me. And at first I would talk them up, especially if some time had passed. I would definitely talk them up. None of the situations ended on a good note. Like, it wasn't just life got in the way. No, none of them were on a good note. And if I didn't love myself, I definitely would have started talking to them again. But they, you know, approached me. And so the way that I go about it now, being a different person than who I was before, I don't respond immediately. Well, I do. I'll type it out, but I won't send it. I'll type out my initial feelings and sit on them, because usually it's changed. Usually I'll type a whole paragraph, because it's like, you message me, really? Like, and then you message me with this energy. My initial feelings about it is going to be a whole paragraph or two's worth. But I don't waste my time or energy anymore. My energy cannot be wasted, and it will not be wasted. So I'll sit on it and come back and see if I feel the same. Get it all out at first. And, you know, if I feel the same, or if I want to cuss them out, or if I want, you know, lately I've just been blocking people. No response, especially if we've had this conversation before. But the first situation, immediately I knew wasn't going to go anywhere, because this person was very narcissistic and was very verbally abusive. And they had the audacity to come to me like everything was peachy, like everything was gravy, you know, like we were just gonna go right back to being whatever it was that we were, or even start talking again. Now I got my main apple scrapples that we've been like up and down, whatever, but we've come back and talked about things and had communication or whatever. And I had really bad communication years ago. So having that patience at first, I give them that grace. I might message if I want to talk to them, or if I'm curious of what they're going to say, and see how it goes. Oh yeah, I'm fine. How are you? Yada, yada, yada. I don't give out my number anymore, but usually they'll give out theirs, or I'll give out mine. And depending on how the conversation goes with the email, or with the, depending on, because it's usually email. Like, I've changed my number so many times, no one I knew 2 years ago, if we ain't talking today, you ain't got my number. Or I blocked you. But I'll see how the information got me to. I'll see how the conversation goes and see if I want to talk to them, whatever. The first person immediately started talking about themselves. And this person was involved in some pivotal moments in my life. So I knew how that conversation would go. Because you know how you just want to see, you're curious. You want to honestly be proven right about a certain situation. Well, this person immediately proved me right. Immediately started talking about their life and their situation. Didn't ask me how I was doing. Didn't ask me, because they knew that my mother had passed, going on, it's been 5 years. Didn't ask about that. Just immediately started talking about what they had going on, like they were trying to prove to me that, look what I'm doing. I'm so much better now. No, you're not. No, you're not, honey. Because just the way that you approached me, even if we were to be friends, you didn't even ask me how I was genuinely. You immediately started talking about yourself. Didn't give me anything whatsoever to go off of or anything that I would be willing to, reciprocity. Second person, off and on for years. And their problem is that they were stagnant. They had a problem with admitting when they were wrong, as did I. So me, because I like to share knowledge with people when I learn it, I've also learned to not give away knowledge to people that don't want it. So to protect my energy and theirs. My time and energy. But, and also not everybody's going to be at the same point to need, the advice or the tips. I don't know what to call it. But anyway, this person I was willing to be involved with, and they just did not want to admit that they had some issues that they needed to mature. They were a few years older than I was, so that's another situation. I'm in my 30s, and if you are older than me and you still are acting like a teenager, which most narcissists are, just teenagers, grown adults stuck at the age of like 16 or 14 or something, and that's how I see them. I don't take them seriously as adults. I treat them like teenagers. And they couldn't admit, maybe I do still have some trauma to work through or some trust issues or whatever else. And they wanted to pop back up. Essentially, they said that they had been checking up on me. And I was like, okay, how are you? Because I hadn't talked to them in like some months. And, it started off pretty good. So I'm like, okay, I don't think this is going to go well, but let's see. How are you? I'm glad that you're doing well. They say, oh yeah, I'm really glad that you're doing well too. And I said, okay. Other than you telling me that you chucked up on me, is there anything else that you want? Seeing that you messaged me and I didn't message you. Seeing that you've been watching me and I ain't been checking for you. Seeing that, I'm not the one that has the problem now and you still do. But all I said was, is there anything else? Or was that it?
I don't even know why I messaged you. Old habit. I don't even know why I was checking up on you. Because, or maybe I do know what it is. Yada, yada, yada.
And that's it. I said, okay. Well, if you think of something to say, other than what you said, if you think of anything else, feel free to let me know. I'm not chasing grown adults. I'm not. I refuse. I'm not chasing near grown adult ever. It's not happening. No, my life has been beautiful without these people lately. The growth, amazing. Even though they did help me to grow and process through shit, but they also put me through shit. But, why am I going to invite mold or old shit that ain't changed, hasn't been renewed, or isn't trying to back into my life? I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So, I say, yeah, there's nothing to talk about, so if you think of something, feel free to message me. And they said,
well, I don't see what you mean by there's nothing to talk about. I don't feel like I should have to come up with something.
Huh? Okay? What? What do you mean you don't think you have to be the one to come up with something? Because I cut you off? Because I realized that you weren't changing and weren't going to grow, so there was no point in beating a dead horse? You messaged me. Why do you think... And so I was going to come on here. Tangent. If you've heard my rants, you know how I do. I was going to come on here, and how the fuck do you think... And it might still get there, but like being able to process it and do my whole little morning routine or whatever, I really got to sit back and be like... Because I was going to respond, fall back into old habits and respond immediately, hit send. But no, I just blocked them. Because I don't see the purpose. I put the ball in their court like they always said they wanted me to, because I'm always the aggressor. I'm very dominant. I could be cutesy or whatever if I'm in a relationship, but my personality is very like...
Oh.
Not aggressive. I used to be, but it's very... Okay, what do you want? Come on, tell me, because I ain't got time to be playing these passive aggressive games. What the fuck do you want? Open your mouth. That's my personality. I don't like to skirt around the issue or the problem. Just spit it out. And if somebody doesn't receive it, oh fucking well. You don't live your life for other people. That's how I see it. But I'm like, okay, what do you want? Do you want to talk to me? Do you want to start this process over? Do you want me in your life? Do you miss me? You didn't even say that. And we have a history with them reaching out after an argument first, because that's just their personality. They were a people pleaser. And I wanted to get them out of that, but that was not my job to do, because this person is very nice, very kind, would do anything for anyone, but would let anybody take advantage of them. And I'm like, bro, whoa, no, like, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, that's not okay. Like, it's not okay for you to be taken advantage of. Now, if you genuinely don't care and you just go with the flow, cool, I can't argue with you. But when you sit back and huff and puff and grunt and this, that, and the third like a fucking child because you're mad about something, you can't pretend like you don't care, because now it's affecting your entire day. It's affecting someone else's day because you have an attitude, because you won't open your mouth and voice what's wrong. Even if you're not heard, even if I'm not understood, if I have a problem, I'm going to tell it. If it directly involves me or I see someone doing wrong, I'm going to tell it. Whether you receive it or not is my fucking problem, bruh. Like, it's not. So it was not my responsibility to get them out of that. And I wanted so bad for them to tell me when I'm doing something wrong. When they would, it would be like an hour or two after. Is my foundation right? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Squirrel. It would be like hours after the initial thing, and by then all that huffing and puffing and banging shit down that they were doing, I'm fucking irritated now. Spit it the fuck out, because now I don't care. I don't care what your problem was, because now you're getting on my fucking nerves because you're not opening your goddamn mouth like an adult and telling me what the fuck is wrong, even if I don't receive it well. That's not your issue if I don't receive it well. It's not. It's not. Whereas your issue is if you hold it in, you cause other problems in other areas, like a child, because that's childish behavior, and you don't open your fucking mouth and say what's wrong. Now, I've been in a situation where because of abuse, it was verbal abuse, and I was in a relationship with that first person that would not, anytime I would bring up an issue, narcissist, they would deflect immediately, make it my problem, make it my fault. They would always make it seem like, gaslight me. They would make it seem like, oh, you're just tripping, you're this, that, and the third, even though they were literally talking down to me. And my accountability was, well, narcissists and abusers, they pick their targets, but that's another conversation for another day. Resources down in the comments on that topic. But I had to learn, because I'm very vocal, and I've been a very vocal person since I was a child. Like, if I had a problem or some shit ain't make sense to me, wait, that don't make sense. Why are you feeding me? 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 You know, why are you feeding me catfish and trying to tell me that it's some, what's the, I don't know, fish. But why are you, no. I'm not going to go with the okie doke. And people get intimidated. People have been afraid of me because of that. People have wanted to fight me because I would point out their bullshit. You know, and I've had people point out my bullshit and I would get upset. I was very childish in that way. But being that way, I now see why they were like that. Insecurities, which essentially is narcissists at the base. They're very insecure. So the fact that they wouldn't open up their fucking mouth and tell me what the fuck was wrong, but wanted me to guess or wanted me to, you know, pester or whatever else. No, I'm not going to do that because I haven't done that since I was a teenager. You are in your 30s. What's your fucking excuse, honey? Sweetie pie, what's going on? Work that out with yourself and with your ancestors because that's not my problem at all. I will support someone through loss, through grief, through trauma, through things that they're going through. But when it comes with issues with us, you always have the option to just say no. You always have the option to say fuck it. Even if you're afraid, say fuck it. They won't listen to me. Why the fuck am I still here? And that to me is self-love. Having firm boundaries on what you will and won't accept. That's self-love to me. Because you're saying that even though I love you, I love myself more, and we keep going back and forth with this, or you're not hearing me and I'm trying to talk to you, I'm choosing me and my sanity. And I've never had a situation where I cut people off and I didn't end up in a better situation. So attention span of an amoeba. The second person that came back, I ain't going into details, but this person had impulse control. And if you are a survivor, I'll let you go with that. I'll let you figure out what that means. But this person was very close. I was essentially their twin in a way that we operated, like their polar opposite, yin and yang type of situation. But the problem was that I started growing. I started doing better, being better, and they've been watching me too. They said it. They messaged me on one of my platforms and told me. And they thought that they could come into my life. I think all three of them thought that they could come into my life, even if they truly miss me. They wanted to use me as a muse. And not, no, I'm putting myself up there. Because there's not one person that's been in my life that hasn't left me better off or hasn't been worse off without me, honestly. Truly, honestly. Dearly. So they know the impact that I have on their life. They know what I do. They know what my energy does. And they want that back. They want that energy back. I'm funny. Fine as fuck. Fuck what you say. I am encouraging. You know, if you want to do something, yeah, sure, go and do it, you know. Think it out, but go and do it. You know, you got this. And they want that back. They actively, you know, hinted towards that. And the second person literally said, I love my girlfriend, but oh my God, essentially I'm sick of her. And you want me to do what with this information? What the fuck do you want me to do with this information, sweetheart? So I'm in a mode where I want to see what exactly how you're going to respond. I know I'm psychic and people never seem to admit to believe that until I tell them what's going to happen, and then they see it and they're like, oh, the Pikachu face. But I want to see and hear for myself how you're going to respond. And so I talked to this person on FaceTime. We talked and they were so happy. And, you know, text message my best friend who was like, look, I'm talking to so-and-so again and I got my friend back and whatever. Yay, hurrah, cheers. Got on FaceTime. Conversation going well. They keep hinting towards, you know, essentially they kept hinting towards sexual shit or hinting towards my job. So I already knew where this conversation was going to go. I already knew how it was going to end. I already knew how this interaction was going to go. And they admit something to me, which is public information, but they admit something to me that proves further that I knew that they had impulse control, and it's in relation to somebody that they knew, and just admitted it point blank with no problem. And continued to think that I was going to be okay with it and continue to talk to them. I was like, you ain't been paying attention. You haven't been watching me close enough, dear, because if you thought that I was going to be okay with you doing some shit to somebody and openly admitting it, they got handled. It's one thing to take accountability for yourself. I mean, it's one thing to take accountability for yourself, realize where you fucked up, and constantly keep trying to change. People think change is an overnight one and done thing. No, it's exhausting. It's fucking exhausting because it's every single goddamn day. You have to constantly choose to do better than what you've done before. You have to constantly say, you know what, I did this, I responded this way. And that's also the thing I noticed. The people who I ended up cutting off in my life, they would not let me hold myself accountable. They wanted me to argue. Where I was trying to say, you know what, give me a second. You know, because I feel myself getting heated, let me come back. Just let me come back because I feel like I want to pop your head off. And I'm not trying to be the old Sagittarius that I used to be. I'm trying to be the Sagittarius that can talk to you in a calm tone with no problem and come to either an agreement or a solution or work shit out. But they wanted to argue. And you know, that could definitely be because when you grow up in abusive households, you think that anger and arguments are love. So if your relationships don't mirror that, you think there's a problem. You think that there's something wrong, and you think that this person doesn't want you anymore. When in actuality, that's your trauma speaking, and everything is just chill. I had the type of friends where, yeah, we would definitely go drink and pop pills. Our hotel parties were fucking legendary. And if my best friends see this, they know. We were fucking legendary. People were always trying to get invited because we had good energy. We didn't have to go out and do crazy shit. We were inside doing crazy shit or just chilling. And it was genuine good vibes. But when you... what's the Bible verse? When I left my parents, I put away childish things or whatever. Too many people want to hold on to their past, and their past is when they were teenagers. Not to say, but not thinking I want to have good moments, but as an adult. A lot of people, especially adults that I've noticed, and technically you're not truly an adult until you turn 25, like mentally, your front, all of that. Technically you think completely different, or supposed to, after you turn 25, depending on how much trauma you have. But not, I want to have so much fun, and I want to live life with the people that I like and enjoy time, spending time with as an adult, with the adult things that I have to do. But even if you get a job, even if you're paying bills, even if you have a family, a lot of people still have that teenager mindset of it needs to be about me, but not in a sense of confidence. Like if you're coming into my vicinity, it's going to be about you, but it's going to also be about me. It's really like I wasn't heard as a child, or I didn't get this as a child, so now I want you to give it to me. And not in a sense of reciprocity. Like if someone is willing to do certain things and act a certain way, and that's initially what my rant was going to be about. You're coming to me, you are messaging me. You are messaging me, wanting my energy. But you can't even tell me the benefit of having you back in my life. Have you changed? Have you started to grow? Are you going to bring up the things that you realize and shit that you realize that you fucked up on? Because I have no problem to admit the shit that I fucked up on. Because I fucked up. But I've always been like that. I will admit, I don't need someone to point out my shit, because I will point out my shit myself. It's just whether or not I give a fuck. It was always the problem. Like, oh no, I know that was fucked up. I don't care though, but I know. Gross. But no, I know that was fucked up, but I don't give a fuck. Do I care? It depends. But I have no problem pointing out where I fucked up or damn, I shouldn't have said that. But a lot of times I will actually sit back and be like, do I feel fucked up for saying that? Was I out of line? No, I wasn't out of line because this is what I really wanted to say. But I know that was me being petty. Or was it the truth? Yeah, it was the truth, but did it need to be said? Like, I'm going through that in my head before I actually say what I'm going to say to you. Because I could really be mean if I wanted to go back to that petty place. If you don't think that your shit stinks, I'm going to point it out to you. Especially depending on how you come at me. So, you are coming to me wanting my energy and wanting my space, wanting my spirit in your life because you miss that. You do. You miss it. That's why you came back. And I've made up with people before that we had some nasty breakups. Time passed maybe 2 or 3, 4 years. And we actually came back and was like, you know what? That was fucked up. And I was being very childish. And I'm sorry. I apologize. And I miss you. And if you miss me too, we could possibly work past this. But those 3 people, they don't have that energy. They very important people in my life at one time. And 2 of those people, one person I knew wasn't good. The first person I knew wasn't going nowhere because they were child. But the other 2, I was like, we could possibly grow and be like living single type shit. And it'll be good. Especially if we're growing, if we're constantly holding ourselves accountable for the shit that we do. Cool, beautiful. But you don't want to admit that to yourself. Yet you want me to invite you in with open arms. And welcome you back with no problem. But you haven't admitted to yourself where you fucked up at. Or you did and you use that as a band-aid to move past what happened. Which is why I say I don't apologize. I let children apologize.